What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Dark Horse Rowing. Today, I'm giving myself, I have no idea why, 2 minutes to explain damper setting, usually because it takes me about 20, so this is a real challenge. But first, we're officially and formally into the new Dark Horse HQ, and I wanted to give you guys a quick inside tour so that you can see the new digs. Roll the B-roll. So damper setting is extremely confusing, and we get questions about it constantly. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. People are always asking this question. I always try to refer people to our other videos, but I also understand those videos can get a little bit heavy because it's one of those things that the more I try to explain it, the more I feel like I talk myself into a hole. So today, I am using this Tuesday to make it 2 Minute Tuesday and giving myself this self-imposed timeline. And I really have no idea if I'm actually going to be able to pull this off. But let's at least give it a try. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock. Boom. And let's get going. So to start, let's explain what damper setting is and what it isn't. It is not a unit of measurement. Damper setting is not a unit of measurement. It's literally just a printed number on the side. It is nothing official. It doesn't actually measure anything. There's nothing special and ethereal about it. You couldn't put it into an equation, and that's not what it is. What it is, however, is the setting of airflow, meaning it decides how much air moves in and out of the flywheel. Next, let's explain what is a 10 and what is a 1. A 10 is simply the high setting, meaning that when you put it up, it opens the side of the flywheel housing and it allows a whole lot of air in and out of the flywheel housing. What that does is it makes the fan feel very heavy and it's very slow when you open it up. It's almost like trying to spin through sand. That's why it feels heavy. A 1, on the other side, pinches off air supply, which means that the flywheel can spin freely because there's no air to slow it down, and it feels very light and quick. It's almost like rowing through air, if you will. That's the worst analogy I've ever come up with, but it's true. And why would you choose one over the other? Well, this is where it gets confusing for a lot of people. Let's just break that down. Now, you would choose a lower damper setting, 3 and below, if you want to experience less fatigue, but let your heart rate and your breathing rate run a little bit higher and use speed to your advantage. Maybe you're a fast twitch athlete. That would be the advantageous reason for using a lower damper setting. On the other side, why would I use a 10? Well, if you are a slower twitch athlete who is looking to perhaps prioritize connection and power over elevated heart rate, breathing rate, and speed, then you would choose a 10. And it's actually almost as simple as that. You can use that as your foundation for decision making to get a really great start. But what if I'm rowing for calories versus meters? I'm a guy, not a girl. I'm rowing for time instead of distance. What if I'm rowing backwards? What? What if I am an upside down in the water, as in under the water rower? I don't know how to help. I don't know how to help in that situation. I don't even know why you would do that. It's just a silly question. Really, really silly. So all those things might matter at some point, but let's be honest, if you haven't just understood the basics of how damper setting works for you as an athlete, don't try to find those exclusions to begin with, right? Male versus female. Sure, that may make a difference at a certain point, but to get started, don't start thinking that way. Meters versus calories versus watts, It doesn't matter. What matters is how you're connecting to the machine. Time versus distance versus doesn't matter. It's simply how you are creating connection to the machine. And at the end of the day, that's really what we are trying to optimize. So, in conclusion,
you know, I do live life by the edge. You know, if this is a cliff and this is the edge, you know, I'm here. I'm on the precipice. I'm looking down the gorge. Woo, baby! Michael Jackson. Woo, back up. it's just who I am, Space.
I would simply say, start to build your foundations of understanding damper setting. How do you do that? Very simple. Spend a lot of your workouts repeating the same time or distance, but playing with different damper settings to find where you achieve the best results. Don't go into it with a bias, thinking that you should be doing one or another. Just give it a very open-handed analysis and change your damper settings accordingly, perhaps 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, at the same distance or time, so that you have the same measurement across all of those from which to evaluate. And that's all I have to say about that.
And that's all I have to say about that.
At which point I am disappointed. So guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode. As always, if you loved this video, make sure you hit that little subscribe button, and if you really love it, hit that bell next to it so that you get alerted every time we come out with a new video. And as always, we will see you on the other side. Start that over and also wait for this helicopter to come by. That looks like the Magnum PI helicopter. That's pretty cool. Amazing marvels of technology.